Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about something pretty interesting going on in Hollywood right now. These two things are related, I think. The top streamed shows are old, according to Nexstar. Most of the shows that people are watching on streaming, despite having all these new shows for diverse audiences and yada, 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 people are watching the old standbys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's,
I know with our kids, it's true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The kids are watching older shows. They watch The Office all the time. A lot of people are watching Friends. They're going back.
Gilmore Girls, yeah.
Gilmore Girls. Yeah. A lot of 90s stuff is getting watched. So that's going on. And then we also have this that, according to Deadline, Hollywood jobs are drying up. Actors are struggling to find jobs as TV castings dry up. Well, why do you need to create new shows if everybody's watching the old stuff anyway? And beyond that, everybody costs more now because of the strikes. And we said this was going to happen. People are like, you're anti-union. No, we said that if people cost more and it costs more to produce a new show, they're going to be a lot pickier about the shows.
Well, there are going to be a lot fewer shows too, which they said, because they overproduce shows.
Yeah, so
and everybody watch the old stuff anyway.
They're watching the old stuff anyway. So let's talk about this. Before we get to it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
And yeah, I mean this tracks because classics are classics, and if you only have so many hours in the day, you're probably going to spend time watching something you'll like or something from a different era before.
Well, it's a lot of younger kids. Like it's trending on TikTok, and they watch these shows because it's like everybody's talking about it.
Yeah. So these are the most streamed acquired shows of 2023, according to this article on, or it came from Nexstar, right? Number one is Suits. And that was on 2011 to 2019. Bluey.
Makes sense.
2018. NCIS.
My dad would be one of those people. He loves NCIS. It's like his favorite thing. He'll watch that thing, that and Jag. He's seen like every episode ever, like 100 times.
2003 to present, right? Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, this one surprised me.
I'm surprised it's still on.
It is. Well, they made a deal, I think, with I want to say it was Netflix or something to use the Grey's Anatomy also.
Oh my God. Cocomelon, which is still on, but the new stuff,
it's kids. That makes sense.
Injecting some stuff into the new episodes of Cocomelon, and but hey, they're still watching it. The Big Bang Theory, 2007 to 2019. Gilmore Girls, you said that, 2000 to 2007. Friends, 1994 to 2004. Heartland, 2007 to present. Heartland's still on?
Yeah, apparently.
Supernatural, 2005 to 2019.
That one's our always favorite. I think Office and other ones
years.
are, ones people keep watching over and over again too. But I know Friends, like they had all kinds of merch out for it again. It was like being in the 90s all over again.
Yeah, many of these shows have a persistent nostalgia factor. The New York Times recently described Gilmore Girls as an endless buffet of TV comfort food. And Friends fans have long found comfort in the show's familiar jokes and the studio audience's loud laughs. Yeah, it is familiar. I mean, they said for a while that a lot of millennials were actually cutting the cord and going back to like antenna TV broadcasts. Like there were all kinds of reruns of like MASH and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they were all going about MASH. Yeah, yes, and that was 70s.
Yeah, but they said, people can binge these shows too, because there might be 10 or 20 seasons of a show. Like NCIS is freaking 21 seasons, 19 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, but there's only like one season of The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. And they don't make as many episodes either. No,
they're talking about Cocomelon and probably Bluey. It's like kids will watch it over and over and over again. Like my dad watches NCIS.
So here are the top 10 original streaming shows: Ted Lasso, The Night Agent, Ginny and Georgia. See, none of these are, here's the thing, with the exception of maybe Ted Lasso or The Mandalorian, I'm looking at this list. They don't have the cultural impact that old sitcoms and dramas did, because everything is so fragmented now. Like we all used to watch the same shows. And you wouldn't have as many shows, but like everybody watched Friends. Everybody watched Cheers. Everybody watched The Cosby Show, even though now they want to say that they didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we all watch that stuff.
That's why we had the water cooler pop culture moments. That's what defined pop culture. That's why they keep trying to recycle the 80s and 90s and do it again, because they're trying to recapture that. But
you can't.
You can't. Yeah, not with streaming.
No, and instead of having, 100 million people all watching the same show, you might have a million people each watching 100 different shows, or watching YouTube, or watching, a million other things, TikTok. Everything is so fragmented.
Which is going to probably go into the next thing we're talking about. But before that, I want to say Moana and Kanto were the most streamed movies. And they were 2016, 2019, or 2021. And Moana, that's why they're doing a Moana 2. And that's why they're trying to shove Encanto Land into Walt Disney World.
Oh, yeah. They're looking at the numbers. Yeah.
So here, you have all these perennial favorites. You don't have that pop culture moments anymore. And people are going back watching these shows again, wanting that. And now we have this article we're talking about how Hollywood is going to start tightening their belts on what they're producing, how much they're producing. Because one, people are watching other stuff, but two, like you said, you get, instead of the millions of people watching per show, you're getting a fraction of that because there's just too many things.
Yeah, and so let's go back to the strike, because we covered the strikes in depth. And we said this is going to destroy Hollywood, because what's going to happen is, it sounds good on paper, but if you looked at the terms of the deal, unless you had a mega, mega, mega hit, chances are pretty good that you weren't going to get paid. And again, the studios, they're using this as a reason to not greenlight as much stuff, because most of the stuff, we did a video, I think, on that. They said the vast majority of stuff on Netflix, nobody watches. The vast majority of stuff, nobody is watching it now. But yeah, this is coming from Deadline. They said most of the college-bound aspiring actors from the high school class of 2020 received their acceptance letter the first days of the pandemic. Well, the pandemic really isn't. We'll talk about this. Their early studies and stage training were disrupted by COVID, with many classes moving online.
Right. Okay, what's that have to do with anything?
That's everybody. 4 years later, the same class is graduating from college and facing an even bigger challenge, a contracted TV marketplace.
Wait, that's their big fucking challenge?
That's their big challenge.
That's their challenge in life, guys. It really sucks that you had to go to school online, and and there's a lot of kids that have suffered a lot of psychological issues from that. No, your biggest challenge is now that you're graduating college, Hollywood's shrinking. Yeah, I don't think that's their biggest challenge, Deadline.
It's so fucking hard out there. There's so little work. It's a brutal time in the business. There are no jobs.
There are plenty of jobs. There's not in Hollywood.
Pretty much, yeah. Learn to do shit, like South Park said. You know what I'm saying? Look, we're not sitting here but we told you so. We said this was going to happen. They took the time during the strikes to take a good hard look at what they were doing. They're like, you know what? 98% of these shows that we greenlit don't give us a return on our investment. So let's just focus on that other 2% and do the best we can do. Oh yeah, and we'll sign all these papers of strikers because they think they're getting more, but really we don't need
just
them.
The ones that stay.
Yes.
That's why they had the deals in place that only people on performing shows get some of these deals, because they knew they were going to cut down the number. They had record numbers of shows in the year prior, mostly greenlit because of the pandemic.
Yes.
And now they know that they aren't working, and they picked a lot of things that were downright just effing stupid and expensive. And they're like, why we spend so much money on this? People are just going to go watch, the Ghost Show instead. Or going to go watch more. They're going to spend more time on YouTube than they are on our network, which is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, pretty much. They said there was a bumpy reentry into the TV marketplace post-strike. Things only got worse by November, when tens of thousands of SAG-AFTRA members started looking for jobs after the Actors Union reached an agreement with the studios. But there was a wave of series cancellations during the strikes, cost-cutting.
Someone had said this was going to happen.
Wow, God, really? Cost-cutting, layoffs, content removal, some by traditional media companies, and some belt-tightening among the tech-based streamers. Once their sky-high series budgets have come down to earth. Because, again, they greenlit a lot of shit.
And people want to watch Friends.
And they want to watch Friends. They want to watch reruns of the Gilmore Girls. And there really are very, very few shows out there that can compete. And I saw James Wood, actually. James Woods put a tweet out there the other day. He was asking people what their favorite shows were and what they watched the most. And a lot of people were going back to older TV shows.
Oh, are you allowed to acknowledge him?
Are you allowed to now?
I don't think you're allowed to. You're not allowed to do that.
I said I like Northern Exposure. You can't find the unedited version of Northern Exposure on a streamer. I actually had to import my DVD set because they cut all the music because of the rights issue. But I love those 90s shows. So many. I mean, I love 80s stuff too, but I'm looking at my personal favorite list, and most of the stuff's actually from the 90s. And that's what it seems like a lot of people are going back to. And I'm sorry. That means that we don't really need new shows, so we don't really need you people.
Your personal favorites list mostly includes things like Ancient Aliens and stuff like that.
No,
Your
I mean like
current-
sitcoms and
I was
stuff.
gonna say because your current shows don't include sitcoms usually.
No, I
Ancient
watch a lot of
Aliens
documentaries and stuff
Aliens
now.
This and Aliens Caught on Camera, XXX, and all that stuff.
Whoa!
I'm kidding.
Whoa!
I like the ghost shows.
Aliens and ghosts are so boring compared to
I
aliens.
like the ones where they're looking for Aztec stuff, like
because it's aliens.
Yeah, or the ones that have
Aliens
like
and the Aztecs,
like Skinwalker Ranch, which we
They're
can't say
aliens
that. We have
too.
to call it Flesh Pedestrian because our daughter gets mad.
Oh, she gets mad. Yeah.
She's and like the Blind Frog Ranch, like that, or on K-dramas. That's usually what I'm watching, and they're usually reality shows, like like they don't have a big budget. Or it's K-drama.
Well, I'm talking the stuff. I mean, that stuff I watch in the background. I'm talking.
I was gonna say you watch. That's what you watch now.
The stuff that I actually, if I were gonna sit down and actually watch a show from beginning to end, is probably Seinfeld,
Northern
Exposure. I do like Friends somewhat, not as much as, but Star Trek, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
You still do run those in the background for the dog.
Yeah, yeah. So our one dog, Vivi, he likes Patrick Stewart. He listens to Patrick Stewart more than he listens to me.
True.
Patrick Stewart comes on, like it could be any other character on the show, but Picard comes on and he just like sits there and looks at him like, "Yes, master. Yes, I will make it so."
Yeah, he does. You watch.
Tell me what to do,
Who.
Captain, my captain. Yeah, that's that. So he loves Picard. But yeah, I'm thinking like my personal favorite shows. Like most of them are 80s, 90s. Batman the Animated Series.
Mine are like 80s mostly.
And
I'm such a dork.
It's like if I'm going to go back and watch a show from beginning to end and actually get invested, I'm probably not going to watch a lot of the new shit. I'm just not, because it's disappointing too.
I don't think the last time I watched a new show that wasn't like one of these other shows like I just mentioned. And I don't remember.
K-drama. You watch a lot of
K-drama. K-drama, but I mean like, that are like these that are being produced over here. And I can't remember the last time I watched a show. Well, I actually watched the whole thing. I don't remember. I mean, probably like, Community or something like that. Or
yeah, Community is really good. Community is like kind of a weird like one-off where
you can't get away with it now.
No, you can't. It was only 10 years ago.
It was flipping the hell. I love it. I
love
it.
The Office and Community, those two shows, Parks and Rec.
I credit my kids for that because they're the ones that got us to watch them.
10 years ago.
Oh, I watched Castle. But
yeah, Castle was okay, but then it got kind of ridiculous toward the end.
I mean, that's like the last thing. Mostly I just watch K-drama or like alien or ghost shows or watching people make fools of themselves because they're like fighting each other or something stupid like that. I don't.
Oh yeah,
to watch
what
TV.
was it like? My Angry Neighbor or
something like that.
Neighbors Gone Wild.
I don't think it was Neighbors Gone Wild, but yeah,
it's always like ranty people.
They're all like really low budget like live stuff.
Well,
that's pretty much it.
Well, here it's not just you. They said broadcast networks are already pulling away from pilots, right? They really don't factor in the Fox's development model, and the new CW scripted slate relies predominantly on international co-productions, with a few exceptions. Basic cable networks, which also employ pilots, have retreated from original scripted programming altogether. They're doing mostly reality TV because it's cheaper. Game shows, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than doing a scripted show.
I just like watching those, like the ghost shows and stuff like that. I know our daughter's favorite, like one of her favorite shows is on YouTube, and it's Sam and Colby, which is the ghost stuff, you know?
But was it worth it? Because of this is Deadline, guys. This is Deadline. Because of the effects of the strikes, which delayed production of new and existing series and development of new ones, that was never really in the cards for them to have normalcy again. They said an anticipated flood of series castings immediately after the end of SAG-aftra work stoppage didn't materialize. Who anticipated that?
Oh, I don't know.
Who anticipated that?
I kept telling you that was what they're doing.
No, these young, dumb people thought that like they could just turn it back on. It's like, no. The executives are sitting here like, oh, this is man, we wanted to cancel this shit before because it wasn't performing. Now we have an excuse. You just handed them the excuse they needed. Like, oh, golly gee, the strike. Oh no, what are we going to do? And they're over here like, yeah, everybody's watching Friends. It doesn't matter if we put new stuff on or not. They're watching reruns.
Well, they're talking here about it would be the pilot season would be a feeding frenzy for TV stars. But the contraction has the pilots drying up, and now streamers are going off for feature names. the ones they know are going to bring people in.
Yeah.
And then they said down here, who was the ones that are going to benefit the most from the new strike deal? The ones that had, on big shows that were series regulars. And right here it says that the values of series regular roles is diminished because now seasons are 6 to 10 episodes instead of 20, 24 episodes.
Yeah.
So you're not having series regulars. If you do, they're on much shorter runs. You know, and they have to perform to even qualify for a lot of the new union stuff.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the language I thought was really interesting because everybody thought they should be getting top rates for working on shows that might only have an audience of a couple thousand people. It's like you're not going to get that, but the deals they were cutting were basically for people that were working on like The Mandalorian or Game of Thrones or something major like that. And there are only a handful of those. And even those shows, as popular as they are nothing compared to The Office or Friends or, like a major pop culture touchstone.
Game of Thrones is still pretty popular, but yeah.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's going
to get worse.
It's going to get worse, especially now, because now we've got already like SAG-AFTRA right out of the gate. They're like cutting deals with AI companies. They're just like, because I think people know the ratings on the wall. They're like, oh, I'll sell my voice. Yeah, sure. At least I get paid.
Well, and if people are watching the old stuff anyway, and the streamers already have the rights to it.
Yeah.
You pay whatever royalties for syndication and stuff to them that you had a deal in place. It's probably still cheaper than paying, $3 to $5 million per episode or $5 to $10 million per episode for a new show, which is actually a down compared to what they used to spend.
Oh yeah.
And then people aren't going to watch the new shows and watch Friends anyway.
No.
Yeah,
I mean that's just it. It's like they're not watching the new stuff. So why would you spend money making new stuff if you can do like maybe 1 or 2 new shows a year and try something new? But you're going to make your money off the old stuff. And then, look, nobody's watched everything, right? There are shows I've never watched. Lots
of shows we've never watched.
Tons of shows I've never watched. So if I want to watch something new, there's an infinite buffet of pre-existing content out there, literally. And we said this before, and it made people pissed, but it's true. You could stop making new television shows tomorrow, new movies tomorrow, and still you couldn't possibly watch everything that's been produced.
No.
Ever. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it is what it is, guys. And there it is. That's it. So people like the old stuff. They like the classics. Maybe if you pivoted back to making content like that, more people would watch instead of trying to chase all the check boxes like they've been doing. But I'm just saying. We're going to wrap it up. Mm-hmm. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.